This for posterity. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I'll explain in a second. Jim George is here, also known as Professor Gadget, now that we're on the video. Good morning, Jim. How you doing?
Morning, fine. Isn't it a beautiful day in downtown Ocala? Look at this beautiful
It's a beautiful day here in the suburbs, too, by the way. We always saying this, that we were saying that the suburbs of Ocala actually have more people living in them than actual downtown Ocala.
Oh, yeah, downtown. It's hustle.
So you have a gadget here, and this is why I was a little out of breath, because you said if you hold it up in front of your microwave and it lights up, that means you have a leak.
Exactly.
So
it's a little neon bulb. Any neon bulb would work if you had a neon bulb that came out of a fluorescent.
What happens when it rings like that?
I just turn it. Yeah, people don't know. I got to turn this down.
You might have to take that call. It might be important.
No, it's not. It's my accountant saying, "Are you ready to do your taxes?"
Oh, that's right. That's
so I will turn the volume down.
There you go. I would have loved to hear that conversation.
I have to do my taxes.
So I held it in front of the microwave here, and it did not indicate that there was a leak, which is good.
But any neon bulb that you can just hold it, or a fluorescent bulb even. You could get a fluorescent light bulb that the type you replace your fluorescent with your other room with, and you just put it in front of your microwave. If it starts to glow, then you have a leak.
Do you know, this microwave is very old, so I was kind of thinking it would show a leak, but it did not. Did not show. Did I tell you my my microwave story? I burned out my microwave.
How did you do that?
Okay. I was boiling, I wanted hard-boiled eggs, right?
Yeah.
So I put them on the stove, and I didn't have a timer, so I decided to use the microwave as the timer. And then the microwave stopped working, and I went online, I said, can you burn out a microwave if you turn it on with nothing in it? And everybody told me yes, so I should have looked it up first. I did not know that you could do that.
Yeah, something has to be the object of its affection. In other words, it's got to be there's a collector in there. That's the piece of meat or the coffee pot or something. And so it just built up enough energy that it reflected all around inside, and then your emitter decided, forget it, I'm not doing this anymore.
It probably got burnt up from the...
And believe me, the parts to a microwave are more expensive than the whole.
Yeah.
If you're going to buy the emitter, the exciter, whatever people want to call it, that's probably $158. And you have to put it in, and it's easy to put in yourself. You can buy a microwave for $79.95,
Right,
Depends how big it is, of course.
Yeah.
So, no, the parts are more expensive. So, a lot of people will keep microwaves, in their garage and such when they're not, when they break, because they want to save parts.
Speaking of the cost of technology, there was a story this morning about a new iPad or iPod. What is it? iPod? That is cheaper than the iPod Pro. Let me get it. Here it is. All right. Apple devotees can place orders today for the new and cheaper iPad, which Apple unveiled earlier in the week. The new iPad features a 9.7-inch screen, A9 processing chip, and up to 10 hours of battery life. It's a slight step down in features from the current iPad Pro. The new one sells for $329. The iPad Pro sells for $599, but maybe a lot of people don't need what it does.
Yeah. Well, people had the Kindle, and the Kindle was so limited in what it did. Now you can get books on your cell phone, books on your, you can do everything. But people who have the Kindle love them.
I love mine.
It's got a great...
We got one from Jan.
It does what it does, right?
It does.
By the way, I want to tell you a piece of technology that I want to get, and then ask you a question about computers. Okay, so the piece of technology is, I like to do art and draw and stuff like that, right? So I'm watching this video about this guy who has done artwork for Disney for like 30 years, and he says the first time he was introduced to computer illustrating, he didn't think he would want to do it. He's old school. He likes paper and pen and all that, but he really fell in love with this pad. Okay, and the reason he didn't like the old pads is because the pad was on the table, but the monitor was in front of him, so his hand he's not looking at where the pen is going.
Right.
So he's got a stylus, okay. But the new one, I think it was Cintiq, Cintiq is what he called it. The new one, you actually draw on the screen with the pad. And he was showing, oh my God, the guy's really, really, really good. Okay. But he said this, and this is why I want to ask you a question. he said, you make sure you have somebody build you a computer, because otherwise a store-bought computer might have glitches and be slow. Make sure whoever's building a computer for you knows exactly what you're going to use it for.
Exactly.
Okay. This has never crossed my mind. I think Dan built the one in the middle room here. I'm not sure.
I think
But I mean, is this commonplace? Do people have computers built just for a purpose?
Just for a purpose. Yeah, because you need a graphics card that is the fastest, let's say, graphics card there is, or the most RAM in a graphics card. You need a video processing card that has all the latest features for the video. You know, when you buy an off-the-shelf item, it's got video, it's got graphics, but it's the low line, and it barely does what it's supposed to do, because you're only using it for creating a birthday card or some kind of other stuff. But when you have a graphics card, that one made for it, even the gamesters, when the gamesters buy a computer, they buy a special game card that goes in there.
Really?
That's super fast. And so it really depends how fast you can get your men moved out of the way of the other guys trying to move his men in the way, and that type of thing. So even when you push the button to shoot, let's say, a laser at a spaceship or something, your laser printer thing is slower than mine. So I've knocked your ship out before you had a chance. So that's the type. So you can, if you have to go to a computer store that sells high-end stuff. Now, Best Buy, I believe, is probably the closest thing to a high-end computer store. In other words, they can either order the card for you, or you'll see it on the shelf where it will say 512 graphics computer. It's
but I would need somebody
it's two
like
or three steps up.
Somebody like you to put it in. I wouldn't. If they give me that thing, I wouldn't know what to do with it.
Even Best Buy could even put it in for you. Staples can put it in for whoever, any store can. But the idea is, what you really need is someone to tell you what kind of card you want, because you might see 3 video cards and and they have different model numbers, and you're going, what's the difference between these 3? I was told to get a faster video card, but
have a clue.
Yeah.
So the only secondary question I have, staying on that topic, is this: I have fallen in love with the Apple products. Okay. So I use Microsoft products here at work, and at home I always use Apple, and so I'm familiar with both. But I think I would like to stick with Apple. Can a computer builder do an Apple computer, or does that something I have to get from Apple?
That's something you have to get from Apple. Apple has some proprietary type software. You hardly ever hear of Apple's being hacked, and the reason is their software, and because there's so few of them. In other words, a hacker can get into your computer and mine, because Microsoft is, everywhere. Everybody's got Microsoft this and Microsoft that. But Microsoft is actually a copy of some of the Apple software. And by copy, I mean, if Apple came out with a GUI interface where you could click and move, as compared to the old DOS where you had the type move cursor.
Yes,
all right?
exactly.
Then Microsoft came out with one that does the same thing, but had to create different proprietary stuff to move the cursor. So Apple came out with it first, and because of that, they have a better feature set.
So wow. So I got some research to do. It looks like we do have a phone call. Let's take that phone call. And by the way, we invite phone calls. If you have something you want to ask Jim, also known as Professor Gadget, you can call in 622-9622. Thank you for calling and for waiting. You are now on the air with Jim.
Yes, good morning, everybody, and good morning, Jim. I was in the market the other day for a new transistor radio so I could listen to WOCA everywhere. And so I ended up going over to Radio Shack, and they're having this big sale. They're going out of business. There's not going to be no more Radio Shacks.
Yeah, there's only a few left now.
Yeah. Is there any store in town that would be equivalent to a Radio Shack with that kind of merchandise in it?
No, you get your Best Buys and your Staples, and they're not into radio stuff or techie stuff. They're just into off-the-shelf. Here's a box, you want it, take it. I can't think of it. You'll have to go to a specialty store. I would probably try to even buy one online. There's a gentleman in White Springs, Florida. He used to be a radio commentator. I wish I could remember his name.
Chuck Carter?
But he made a radio of his own that he sold, an AM/FM radio that was super.
I think that was Chuck Carter, yeah.
Okay, that radio, people who have that radio swear by it. They don't swear at it. They love it. That radio is so sensitive. Instead of having a sensitivity of like 25 dB, it has like a sensitivity of minus 65. That signal can be down in the mud and still be received.
That's
Is he still
wonderful.
is he still making those now?
You may have to ask Larry on that.
Oh my gosh! You know what? When you brought it up, the word almost came to me. What he called it? It was SEA, like in the ocean. I think that was part of the name. Does that sound familiar to anybody?
I don't remember, but I tell you the truth. I know one guy who has one, and that thing is the most sensitive radio you'll ever see. Still got a dial tuner. He made another one that had a keypad. You do like 107.6 or something, but this one was just you turn the knob, and you just barely turn it, and you got like 12 stations. This thing was
Wow.
super sensitive.
That's pretty.
You're talking battery operated, right?
He had it both, but 110 and 120 in this case, and battery.
How do we get a hold of the guy?
You might want to look at some of these radios that have ship-to-shore built into them. Shortwave and coarse wave. You go online and type in super radio, but the word in between reception. I'm looking for another word, but anyway, it'll come to me if you listen long enough. I'll tell you about it. But and then you'll find that radio. It's in White Springs, Florida. I've actually been up there and seen it.
Yeah, at that hotel.
At the hotel, yeah. You know exactly what I'm speaking about.
Yeah.
The Notorious Hotel.
Oh, here's the name. I don't know if this is the one you talk about. It was called Sea Crane. Sea Crane. It was not C as in SEA. I think that's what I thought they were saying. It's the letter C, Crane.
Sea crane. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that spelled with a C or a K? The last word.
It starts with a C.
So CC.
I don't know that this is the one that he designed, but
Was it
Yeah.
CC or CKRANE?
C, the letter C,
Yeah.
and then crane, like a crane.
a C.
Yeah, you can also type in portable multi-band portable radio, a multi-band portable radio. And multi-band means that not only will have AM and FM, but it'll have CW, it'll have multiple. Jim and people like that who call in all the time, they know all those different radio things. But you can listen to radio for Europe, out of Europe. You can listen to all that stuff. Very sensitive.
Okay, thanks for the information.
Very sensitive, yes.
Good morning. You're on the air with Jim.
Yeah. Good morning. I have the American Electrola that he pushed before he was doing Sea Crane,
Oh,
and that actually kind of is underperforms by today's standards, but it's a nice conversation piece. I have my old Zenith Transoceanic.
yeah. That's what you're looking for, transoceanic. Yeah, Zenith is very good.
Yeah.
And they're super sensitive, aren't they? Super sensitive.
Yeah.
They'll pick up everything.
Huh, neat.
Yeah, I do AM band DXing at night with them. I get CKLW clear as a bell. I get
77 WABC.
WBT Charlotte comes in. And WBAL Baltimore.
The problem with it, as we have to tell Hugh, is you can get addicted to shortwave radio, to those radios.
Yes.
Because you want to see what's really out there. And then you'll receive it one night, and you won't receive it the next night, and you go, "What that? What? I just had it last night."
It's up and down.
Very sensitive radio. So down in the minus 65 category.
I love radio.
The signal can be so weak, and that radio will pick it up.
Yep.
All right, transatlantic.
Okay. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you. I am a geek when it comes to radios. I don't just work on this side of the speaker. I work on the other. I listen on the other side too.
Yes. Yeah, I am too.
Are you a big radio fan? I love radio.
I am. But I'm not a big radio music. One of my engineers keeps trying to tell me we need to add, music channels to our TV. And I said, nobody listens. Nobody's going to turn their TV on to listen to a music channel. If they do, they're bedridden or something. I want to turn the channel. I don't want to listen to the same genre 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
But I'm I'm a talk radio guy. If I'm not listening to you, I'm listening either to a Christian radio station that has someone either preaching or talking or something, or I'm listening to another talk radio.
Yeah. I did too. I love music.
But I turned that lady off that you have on in the afternoon.
Oh, you don't like that?
Oh, she
Dana?
is. She's a nutcase.
But I love talk radio, but I love music too. So it sounds like I'm contrary, but not really. I listen to music when I'm doing art. I like listening to music when I'm doing art.
Oh,
right?
yeah, okay,
right?
yeah, something.
But I love the talk. I love chatter, and I like Dana. So.
Oh, you like Dana? She is crazy. Even Glenn goes off on tangents sometime. I turn him off and say, Glenn, you're over the top. Forget it. I'm turning you off.
All right, let's take a little break. And if you have something you want to say to Jim, we're talking. He's singing our song right now, talking about radio. I love this. We will be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. It'll be breezy on this Friday with times of sun and clouds and a high of 73 to 77. And turning out mainly clear Friday night, low 55 on the coolest inland spots, 65 along the coast. For Saturday, a partly sunny day. There can be a shower in spots along the coast, high 77 at the coast, 83 inland. And for Sunday, more sun than clouds, high 77 along the coast, 83 inland. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Next Generation MD is the future of healthcare now. Listen in the first and third Thursday at 10 a.m. to learn how the future in PRP treatments are here in our area. Find out the many ways that Dr. Juan Jordan, MD, Charles Brooks, NP, and case manager Mark Shaw have brought the family medicine practice to a new level. Hear from the very people that benefit from the fine work they have done in this field. Next Generation MD, every first and third Thursday at 10 a.m. here on WOCA 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source.
Tick-tock. The days fly by, and we find tax season is upon us once again. Not to worry, though. With a reputable CPA firm on your side, you can rest assured that all of your needs will be handled in a professional and thorough manner. Robson, Scribner & Stewart is just that firm. They're there for their clients year-round, not just during tax season, to handle your needs and answer any questions you may encounter. At Robson, Scribner & Stewart, there is no client too small or too large. Their expertise ranges from the single individual to the largest of corporations. Get your return prepared by a professional who will use their years of experience to ensure that your tax return's outcome will leave you in the best possible position. Call them today at 694-4184. Robson, Scribner & Stewart. They're there for you today. Again, that number is 694-4184. Time is of the essence, so don't delay. 694-4184.
Have you heard of Hyperdirectory? When looking for local businesses, go to hyper.directory. No need for www, no need for .com, just hyper.directory. Connecting customers to local companies when it matters most. Hyperdirectory is your local business directory partnered with the Ocala Chamber and Economic Partnership to bring you trusted local businesses. Keeping Ocala local. Use hyper.directory. No www, not even .com, just hyper.directory. Connecting customers to businesses when it matters most.
All right, 25 minutes after 9 o'clock, Jim George is here. I love today's conversation. You brought me back in time during the break when you would talk about tubes.
Yeah, the tube radios are sharp.
Oh, my gosh. And I was asking you, okay, if you have an old radio that requires tubes,
yeah,
and you decide to, Robin, none of us men are any different. We're all exactly the same.
I'm glad.
We're all the same.
I tell my wife, honey, it's just in the jeans. Don't worry about it.
Right.
Yeah, the blue jeans.
No more blue jeans for
Thank
you.
God for WOCA window of opportunity.
Or missed opportunity, maybe.
Oh my goodness, I gotta move away.
I thought you were listening to Christian radio stations. No wonder you're listening to them.
I'm telling you.
You need religion right now.
You do. Thank you, Jesus. Amen. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, the old radio tubes.
Okay, well, I want to tell you something about the old radio tubes.
Okay.
In music, in amplifiers,
Yes.
there's this new trend. Well, maybe it's not new, but there's a trend right now where musicians say, I want a tube-powered amp. I like
Yes.
the way they sound better.
They do.
I can't tell you the difference. What? It doesn't sound any different to me. What am I missing?
Well, if you had a frequency response meter, maybe your ears and my ears, are dull to it.
Yeah.
But if you have a frequency response meter and you were looking at the frequency response, remember a human ear can hear something like 16,000 cycles and up. I mean, in that range, 16,000 cycles. But a kid, can hear a different. They can hear a lower range and a higher range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a person that's attuned to it, it's like records. A friend of mine has a record collection. He wouldn't own a CD if you gave it to him. But you hear no popping or snapping or anything in his. He has a $200 stylus. He's got a 33 speed that is set by computer. In other words, that thing is on 33 and a third speed. And everything is perfect. But those are finiciatos, they're audiophile guys. But you have a tube, but tubes are so sensitive. You can't get a transistor or you have to do a whole circuit board to do what a tube can do inside. You talk to people like Jim and them, they'll tell you how sensitive those tube ones are. They are fantastic.
But you were saying you can get the tubes because in our days we would go with our dads to the drugstore or whatever, and there was a machine that would test the tubes.
Yes.
And then you would know you have to go buy one.
I still have one of those machines.
Do you really?
Yeah, I have two of them, matter of fact. That just tells you being old. That's all.
Yeah. So, but when you get tubes, you actually have to buy tubes still? You get them online?
You get them online, yeah. You can type in. There are people, I get catalogs in the mail. Next time I get a catalog in the mail for tubes, I will bring one to you and let you see it. But you'd be surprised all the different tubes you can get.
The old, real quick story, the old transmitter at WTMC, first of all,
like Donkey Kong.
The transmitter was the size of a big bookshelf.
Mm-hmm.
It was huge.
It was huge.
Yeah.
And maybe as wide as this wall behind me.
Yeah.
That's how big it was.
It was huge.
And it had a tube in it that was very rare to find.
Klystron, yeah.
And very big and very expensive.
Very expensive.
It was huge.
And when the engineer found one day, he put it and hid it in there in case ours ever blew out. I don't think it ever did, though.
No, we were lucky, but
I think it
he
stayed
found
working.
one.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
found one.
no, those Klystron tubes, they take a lot of power to operate. And there again, you could put neon lights up in your ceiling, and the radiation from that would light the lights.
Wow.
You got lights free.
That's something.
That's how much energy that thing gave
Oh
off.
my gosh! And I used to sit right in front of it.
Oh yeah, well, see that shows right there.
All right, so my takeaway from today's show is two things. I'm going to buy a radio because I love radios.
Yes.
I don't think I'll get a tube one though. I'm just not good with maintaining things. But I also have to find out who can build a computer that can do the graphics you're talking about.
Oh yeah, no, very simple. Matter of fact, if you're an Apple geek, like you said, you get a hold of them and you tell them what it is you're trying to do, and they'll tell you what card goes in it.
That's really
And you can buy a card for your
That's it,
existing
huh?
one. You just change the card out.
Huh.
Yes.
All right. So how do we get a hold of you?
854-9795.
And one of these days, we're going to hear the announcement about the, what's it called again?
IPTV, the Internet TV.
Oh, right, Internet TV. From Jim George. Professor
you.
Gadget. We'll take a little break. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
I got some cool stuff to
Another
tell you.
30 minutes.
On the other side. Thank you, Jim.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. Ahead of a vote on the GOP Obamacare replacement plan, House lawmakers urged to get on board.
This is the train that's leaving the station. This is the choice that we've been waiting for. This is the pledge that people have made to the American people.
White House spokesman Sean Spicer, according to the White House,
whatever happens today, whether this American health